The doormat. There it lies, with a pleasant greeting of welcome home emblazoned on it, and all it gets is routinely overlooked and trampled on, but it never flinches. It never backs away from performing its function. Many of our victims find themselves regarded as doormats by our kind. Not only is this evidenced by the way that we regard you, it is also as a consequence of the way that we treat you. It is not those factors alone, however, that cause me to ascribe the label of doormat to a particular appliance. Much of it comes from the thinking, attitude, and mindset of the relevant victim. I have a sister called Rachel. She is a codependent. Whereas I trod the path which has led me to where I am today, Rachel found herself becoming a doormat. She was routinely trampled on by all the members of our family, and I watched and observed as we grew older as to how this manifested. As time progressed, and with the increasing awareness that I have obtained, allied with the observations of the good doctors, I identified certain characteristics that she has, which I have also seen in those who have been my primary source victims. I have concluded that whilst numerous of these victims have come close to being doormats, only 3 have actually achieved that status, along with my sister. Now, it is a mistake to think that a doormat would be regarded as weak. Naturally, my kind think this, but that is part of our mechanism for maintaining our superiority, by pouring scorn on your traits and how they lead you to be treated. Those who are doormats exhibit a different kind of strength. They are weak in that they fail to assert themselves with sufficient emphasis to enable them to escape the worst of our treatment, but they possess a strength by virtue of those characteristics. To be able to have those characteristics and keep them, whilst being abused, ignored, trampled on, and taken for granted, is perversely a form of strength, and one which we welcome. We want appliances that will keep functioning, obeying us, pouring out the fuel, and complying, without breaking down and malfunctioning the first time that matters become rough. Finding a doormat amongst our victims is gratifying, because it means that this person will not depart us. They have no desire to do so. It goes further, however, because they wish to stay not only for our reasons, but for their own fulfillment as well. They pour fuel in our direction, remain subservient and compliant. What are the traits that mark out a doormat? 1. The individual is sensitive and guilt-ridden. 2. This person has learned to survive hostile environments by meeting our need for gratification. This first and foremost applies to the provision of fuel, but it also goes further. The doormat will gratify us by allowing us to do what we want, recognizes our need and right to do so, allows us to utilize whatever resources we see fit, and caters for all our needs in terms of fuel, trade provision, and residual benefits. 3. The doormat's perception of love has become skewed. This person seeks love through the excessive accommodation of another's needs. This may not just be us when we have attached them as a primary source to us, but in respect of other individuals. Those individuals may not be narcissistic, but the doormat still wishes to accommodate the wishes of other people, something which of course irritates us and leads us to conflict, because the doormat regards his or her role as one of accommodating everybody, because then that means that they will be loved. 4. The doormat simply gives too much. They do not take. They give of themselves on every level, from their emotions, their dedication, their time, their energy, their thoughts, and their resources. They are impressively resourced in these matters, and appear to have almost limitless time, energy, etc., although eventually it becomes evident that they have not. 5. The doormat does not feel safe unless he or she gives. If they perceive that they are taking, they feel alarm and distress. If they are neither giving or taking, they feel restless and out of their comfort zone. The need to provide and to give allows them to fulfill their role, and in turn embodies a sense of safety for them. Once they begin to feel safe, they will continue to give in order to remain in this safe place. This is why the doormat is drawn to our kind, because we are takers, and we do so on a vast scale. We are made for the doormat, and even though the doormat may not know what we are, their coupling with us provides them with an innate sense of safety and security. 6. The doormat must meet the emotional needs of the narcissist. We are empty. We are voids, and your emotional attention, your fuel, needs to be poured into us. The doormat feels a need to ensure that those excessive emotional needs are met, although fails to realize that this can never actually be achieved, and therefore remains hooked and beholden to us as the doormat tries to achieve the impossible. I have watched my sister continue to do this with our mother. 7. The doormat suffers low self-esteem, but this is boosted by the success of the narcissist. My victims, who were doormats, found that their self-esteem was increased by my achievements and my accomplishments. I watched my sister gather her self-esteem by being linked to the achievements of our mother, my father, and me. This is a curious behaviour, and is not unlike our stealing of traits from those around us in order to add them to our construct and in turn make us look better and more attractive. The doormat does not acquire the traits of our success, but the fact that we are successful and they are linked with us results in their self-esteem being increased. 8. The doormat has a high tolerance to emotional abuse. The lashing out through heated fury and cold fury from our kind against the doormat causes the doormat to realize that the emotional need of our kind has increased. This signals to them that they must leap into action. They have a call of duty, and rather than find the emotional abuse debilitating, at least at first, they regard it as a useful signal for them to do something in order to cater for it. However, all the doormat is doing is allowing a pressure to build up of this repeated emotional abuse. The doormat can tolerate it for longer than a standard victim, but then there comes a point when the threshold is reached. The pressure can no longer be sustained and withheld, and at that point there is a substantial and serious damaging effect on the doormat from the release of this pressure. 9. The doormat feels guilt when catering for his or her needs, and therefore, almost in a masochistic way, will place themselves in the firing line once again with our kind in order to assuage this guilt. 10. The doormat feels undeserving of being loved. They want to be loved for what they do rather than for what they are. They regard themselves as fundamentally unworthy of love, save when they are carrying out their role. With my sister, I saw this with both my father and mother. My father emphasized how it was important to help others, and my sister saw that as a clear signal to flagellate herself in catering to the needs of others and especially our kind. My sister also explained to me that in respect of our mother, that she never says that she is happy, but that my sister knew our mother was happy with her because of how my sister felt, namely devoid of guilt and valued because of her excessive giving. I regarded her thinking as deluded, but I did not correct it, because it served my purposes as well.